World War III is now in the horizon. We can now smell it closer than it has ever been before. What you're looking at on my screen, guys, these are flows of Bitcoin into different countries from different currencies, from US dollar, the euro, and all the other currencies in the world. You can see how much Bitcoin is flowing into the United States from the US dollar. And also you can see in Asia, there's a lot of Bitcoin flowing into that. Now, if you're wondering why Bitcoin is pumping today aggressively and stuff like that, I will explain. That's the whole point of this video. But I want to get back to the World War III story because I'm not the one saying this. The elites themselves have started to say World War III is basically coming with their own words. This is Ray Dalio right here. Hedge fund manager, one of the smartest people in our lifetime, one of the wealthiest people, multi-billionaire. He manages billions of dollars of other people's money and companies and governments. And this is what he had to say recently when they asked him about what is the worst case scenario with the tariff and everything that's going on.
International conflict.
What's worst case scenario that you're warning of? To be very specific, to be very
specific, the value of money, internal conflict.
Let's just watch here, because there he goes into it quicker from this point.
Conflict in a way that is, we know it, that is not the normal democracy as we know it. An international conflict in a way that is highly disruptive to the world economy and could even be a military conflict. Just as
there you have it, guys. I have to take my headphones off for this one. There you have it. There is now a threat for a military conflict. Now, what is going on here, if you have read his books, because I've already recommended some of his work previously on this channel, what Ray Dalio will tell you is that what's going on right now, it's not so much about the tariffs. What's going on right now is superpowers fighting for a position of power. And that includes the store of value, which is partly the US dollar, or at least the currency or the reserve currency of the world, the US dollar, which is also at threat right now. China is putting up the fight. The US is putting up the fight based on Ray Dalio's motto that he has, is that every 250 years or so, an empire collapses and then the power is shifted over into the new hands. So whatever we're looking at right now, from the tariffs and all the drama and the wars happening in the world, is because we're heading towards a shift to a newer superpower. And I think this is obviously China. Everybody knows this, but they don't want to own up to the reality. So all the signs that we have seen are leading up to World War III. If you look at history, this is how it all began. It was more about a trade war, and then it escalated later into a world war. So World War III is basically there, and you can see it in the prices. This is something that I prepared for you guys right here. These are three different charts. This first one here, this is the price of gold. Gold is having its time of its lifetime. Right now, it's in the all-time highs, $3,382. While if you look at the US dollar, it has been declining massively here. It's just been losing value each and every week for weeks now. It's now struggling. And then if you look at Bitcoin, it has also been struggling, much like the stock market. But one thing that's happening now is that Bitcoin just started shooting up. And there's speculation that Bitcoin is decoupling from the stock market and the commodity market, creating its own path as it was meant to be. Because why is gold rising? If you ask yourself this question, the reason why gold is rising is simply because investors are scared of the world economy. They're scared of war. They don't want to hold US dollars because even the US dollars themselves are not safe anymore. We have seen a scenario where countries like Japan and China are dumping US dollar treasuries. Let me show you what's going on here. I posted something on X to demonstrate this, that the largest holders of US debt are Japan and China. And these guys have been dumping the US dollar debt. China is doing the same, which means that this will put a lot of pressure on the US dollar and it will crumble. So investors are looking for something more neutral that doesn't really put them at risk. A currency that is not backed by a country. They're looking for something more general and more neutral, and they're going to gold. It always happens in the time of conflict historically. But ask yourself this. Gold is definitely good and neutral. However, gold is much slower. Gold is easily corruptible as a currency in the world as we know it today. Why? It's simple. If you issue a new currency backed by gold, I mean, it's very, very difficult to prove of the reserves. How do you know that the gold is actually there? America itself is having the same problem. Trump said that, look, we're not even sure if all the gold is there. Now, it brings us up to this day now, where Bitcoin is married to the internet, is the currency of the internet. It has most of the same qualities that gold has, but it just moves faster. The velocity of Bitcoin is insane. And it can easily be proven, easily be trusted. Now, whether the markets or the people with money like it or not, they don't have that much choice. If they would want to do trade, to continue to do things in this world, they'll have to flock into Bitcoin. This is why we're ending up in a scenario like this, where a lot of money is leaking from fiat moving into BTC, because we're going to reach into loggerhead at some point where China and America don't agree completely. They cannot even use each other's currencies, and they will start using Bitcoin as the settlement currency. So do not be surprised, my friends, when you see Bitcoin just balloon all the way to $200,000 to $1 million out of nowhere, because we are not in normal times right now. We're going through very, very demented times. And nobody knows what the outcome is going to be. Something extreme and huge is going to happen, and it's going to accelerate the rise of Bitcoin. Now, it doesn't matter whether the economy normalizes and becomes normal again, or the economy goes to shit. Bitcoin is poised to win in all directions. All outcomes leads up to $1 million Bitcoin. That's what's going on. Now, if you're wondering why are altcoins not rising as much when Bitcoin is aggressively pumping like this? Because if you look at the altcoin markets, some of them have been rising, but most of them are still down bad. The answer is simple. Right now, the people that are buying the Bitcoin are not regular folks like you and I who are speculating on altcoins to make some quick bucks. These are hedge funds, nation states, big boys. They have real billions and trillions of money to manage. They're looking for a safe haven. They're looking for real security. They're looking for real asset values. And they're not going to buy your altcoins. These guys will buy Bitcoin only. So we will see a rise in Bitcoin price for a while, and then the altcoins will sort of follow as a lagging indicator. But for now, I would stick to Bitcoin. The only exception that I have is Ethereum. Ethereum has an upgrade going on. I gave you guys an update on that already. And I think we're really close to seeing a huge pump on Ethereum. So I'm going to open a long position on Ethereum right now. I'll put, it's going to be a 5x leveraged position. I'll make a $50,000 position right now on Ethereum, because I think it's completely oversold. And if Bitcoin is rising the way it's doing right now, it's just a matter of time until we see Ethereum also going bananas. So I'm just going to open a position right here. And for Bitcoin, I will wait a little bit. There are also other coins that I want to long, like Toncoin and stuff like that. I will just wait for a Bitcoin confirmation a little bit more. But for Ethereum, I think this is a very good point for me to enter. My liquidation price currently is at $1,000, which I think that's extreme. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you guys, give you an update on what's going on into the market. I'll leave you to that. Thanks to Ledger for sponsoring this video. If you guys want a hardware wallet to secure your wealth, your Bitcoin, your coins, your altcoins, get yourself a hardware wallet. Link is in the description. And if you want to use the same platforms that I'm using for trading, like in this case, I used Bybit here to open a long position on Ethereum, you can use the link in the description below. Currently, they're giving away $500 free position. If you create an account on Bybit, fund it with money, and open a trade. They give you $500 position to trade. You can open a trade on Ethereum also. And then you can withdraw the profits anytime you want. Thank you guys for watching. I would appreciate if you subscribe, like, follow me, retweet, and all that stuff. And reminder, nothing that I say on this channel should ever be considered financial advice. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you during the live stream a little bit later. Turn on the notifications.